आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
दुष्पूरेणानलेन च.
दुष्पुरेणानलेन च.
Any volunteers who would like to read the translation?
I can read.
Yes, please.
Translation. Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. Purport. It is said in the Manusmriti that lust cannot be satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment, just as fire is never extinguished by a constant supply of fuel. In the material world, the center of all activities is sex, and thus this material world is called Maithunya Agyara, or the shackles of sex life. In the ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within bars. Similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of the Lord are shackled by sex life. Advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of the material existence of a living entity. Therefore, this lust is the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within the material world. While one enjoys sense gratification, it may be that there is some feeling of happiness, but actually, that so called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. Okay.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for reading. Okay, so Krishna was telling Arjun, Arjun asked, what is that force which makes one do even wrong things, even sinful things, even bad things, which ordinarily a person doesn't want to do? If you ask somebody, okay, this which is right, this is right, this is right, they will be able to tell you theoretically, yes, this is right. But when it comes to making a decision and choosing the right thing, many times one is not able to choose the right thing and may choose a wrong thing. Like you may know what is good for you for eating, let's say, but still you may eat another thing which may not be good but may be tasty. You may know what you must do to get a better score in your exams, but you may not focus on that, and you may be forced to focus on something which is more pleasurable or more enticing at that time. And all this is happening by force. So Arjuna is saying, who is forcing us to do all these things? And what was Krishna's response? Who was forcing?
The mind.
Okay, the mind is a good answer, but that's not what Krishna said. What did Krishna say? Who will tell?
No one is forcing you.
Anybody else would like to say?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, what is that force which makes one to act in a way in which one doesn't want, even like forcefully? A big force is there which is making us act in a way which is not what we actually, you know, want to be. Like if we ask our intelligence
Ye-
want to be like this, but we act in a different manner. That's Arjuna is saying, why does this happen? And what was Krishna's response? What is that?
Indriya.
Indriya is a very good answer, but that's not what Krishna says.
Our karma, like what we are
Okay,
assigned to do.
karma is a good answer, but that's not what Krishna is saying. So karma, Indriya,
Triguna
mind,
Prabhu.
3 answers we have got.
Triguna Prabhu.
That's why
I'm
you
sorry.
come.
So that's why you come. What did you say, Mataji? I didn't understand.
प्रभु जी 3 गुण जो 3 गुण होते हैं ना,
हाँ, 3 गुणों के प्रभाव में, very good. 3 modes of nature. So that is a good answer, but that's not what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying something which is actually covering all these. Because of all these, something happens, which is the answer to the question. Krishna says, Kam esha, krodh esha, rajo guna samudbhava. So Krishna is saying we have loads of intense material desires, and these material desires are translated as lust. So these intense material desires, Kam, is making us act in this way. I may know this is healthy for me to do, to eat, but I still may eat something else because of unhealthy desires. I may know that exercising is good for me, but I may not do that because of unhealthy desires. I may know that studying is more important right now than playing video game, but I may choose to play video games. Why? Because of same thing. Intense, unhealthy material desires, which are termed as lust. So this lust, they are so much that they cover our consciousness. They are covering our consciousness in such a manner that we are forgetting our real true desire, or real true desirable nature. Our nature is actually spiritual. We are forgetting that. So Krishna gives 3 examples of how the lust covers the consciousness of the soul. Can anybody give any can anybody tell what were the 3 examples Krishna gave? Last time we discussed. What is covered by what? 3 coverings, 3 examples were there. One was related to the fire. What was covering the fire? Anyone? So smoke covering the fire was one example. That how when you see there is fire going on, smoke also comes. And sometimes smoke is so much that it covers the fire, right? So that is one example Krishna is giving.
Yes, yes.
What was the other example? Smoke and fire. Second one, mirror, something on the mirror.
Yeah,
What
the
was it?
dust.
Yes, thick layer of dust on the mirror. And the third one was, what was the third one? Something related to embryo.
At the womb.
Yes, the womb, the covering of the womb on the embryo. So these were the 3 grades of intensity of covering of the consciousness. So first grade, where fire is covered by smoke, that is actually not the strongest covering, because we can still see the fire behind the smoke, right? So if the fire is intense, we can see the fire nicely. And this is compared to the human life. In the human life, our consciousness may be covered, but it is like fire covering the smoke, covering the fire. So if we are able to remove the smoke, if we are able to remove these material, intense material desires by spiritualizing them, then that will be actually a best way of purifying our consciousness and coming out of these covering of the lust. Another example is that of mirror being covered by thick layer of dust. So this thick layer of dust covering the mirror is compared to as animals. In animals, you are not able to see their spiritual identity, but they have enough consciousness that we can see and we can make out. Yes, they have intelligence, they are acting in a way which is favorable, they are withdrawing from what is unfavorable, they are going towards which is desirable. So all these things make them a good candidate to understand that they have consciousness, but they are not the best candidate for understanding spiritual life, spirituality. That can only be done in human form of life. Even though animals can elevate, sometimes if in association with devotees, they can actually benefit when devotees give them prasad or give them, chant around them. Then animals and plants, they get benefited, but they can't purify completely. And the third is the example of embryo within the womb. That is compared to plants. Plants' consciousness is very dormant. We can't even make out if they are alive or not. Sometimes some people who were not aware, or in the past, people were not aware. They did not know that plants have life. So, like this, we see that three different coverings were talked about. And in this particular shloka, Krishna is saying, who is the wise person? Who is intelligent? Intelligent person is that person who's who understands that the consciousness has become covered by this lust or these unlimited material desires. But what are these desires? You fulfill all the desires. What happens? What happens when you fulfill some of your desires? Can anybody tell?
You feel
You
happy?
get more desires.
Yes. So both of you are right. When you fulfill some desire, depending upon how intense the desire was, how long the desire was there, you'll feel some happiness. The happiness may stay for, some time, but eventually it fades away. And you want something more. You want another thing to make you happy. And once you get that another thing, depending upon again the intensity, the desire, and everything, how long it has been, you may feel some kick, some transient happiness, some fulfillment, but that is also not going to last too long, and another desire will come. And like this, we have so many material desires. And just like example is given here about the fire, just like you keep putting fuel in the fire, you put ghee, you put some kerosenes, you put some gas, gasoline. Do you think just by putting those the fire will satisfy? What happens to the fire when you put all these things or any of these things? Anybody? What happens to the fire when you put some wood or some fuel or some gas?
It burns more.
Burns more.
Burns more.
Mm.
Exactly.
Fuel, yeah.
Yeah. So this is what happens. The more we are trying to fulfill material desires in an attempt to derive happiness through that, the more desires will come, the more it burns, and the more it becomes difficult to overcome these unlimited desires. In the second chapter, Krishna had also mentioned these desires which are coming, they are like rivers flowing in the ocean. Now, a lot of rivers flow in the ocean, but ocean does not overflow. The ocean, because of all these rivers which are coming, doesn't feel, oh, I have too much water, I'm overflowing. So similarly, a wise person, as much desires the wise person may get, intelligent, spiritually advanced person, he doesn't get overwhelmed. He actually is able to tolerate and stay steady. He knows or she knows what needs to be done. And even if desire comes, if it is favorable and can be used in the service of the Lord, then such desire is actually not lust. But otherwise, all the other desires will actually cloud our consciousness and will just keep us anchored to this material world, keep us bound. So this is very important to understand that how we have to come out. of these desires. Prabhupada mentions here that the fire is never satisfied, and then he's taking the example of sex life. So Prabhupada is saying it's a maithuna agara, shackles of sex. So if you want to keep somebody in a place, either you lock the place from all the sides and don't let that person go, or let that person want to be there thinking that that person will get some happiness. Just like a donkey, sometimes they put carrot in front of the donkey and they just stick it there. And donkey thinks that, oh, I have carrot in front of me. After taking a few steps, I will get the carrot to eat. And like this, the donkey walks miles and the carrot is in front of the donkey, thinking that. And in the meantime, the person who is actually doing, give me 1 second, just 1 second. And in the meantime, the person who was actually utilizing this tendency of donkey to get his work done, is able to carry so much of the load on the donkey's back and make him travel miles. And that is the test of the illusory energy Maya. Whether we are going to be used as donkey or whether we are going to be used as a wise person is our choice. So these shackles are just keeping us here. But if we spiritualize them, any desire can be spiritualized. So sex life can be used for having next progeny, children who can be used in the service of the Lord in spiritual life. So then everything becomes spiritual. But if it is not properly used, it actually causes chaos in the society. It causes so much problem. So many of the problems in the society are related to this, lust, greed, and anger. If you take these three things, you'll see 99% of the crimes are because of these: lust, greed, and anger. Sex life which is not properly used, greed which is not properly directed, and anger which is not properly channelized. All these lead to so much chaos in the society. If these three uh, aspects or natures or emotions can be properly channelized, if people are trained to use it properly, then just imagine, it will be such a big benefit to the whole society, the whole community, the whole nation, the whole world will become such a better place. And that's what these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and others, help us in doing. So in this particular shloka, Krishna is, Prabhupada is explaining that criminals who are disobedient to the law of Lord are shackled in this way. So just like I was giving an example of donkey, he was being used. So similarly, the souls or personalities who are not really able to take to spiritual life, they think that by this particular uh, way they can actually get happiness, but happiness doesn't come. They are actually shackled. They engage in these sinful activities, and then they have the results which they have to face. On the other hand, they could have used this propensity in such a constructive and positive manner to become a very good member of the society and contribute positively, and at the time of death could have gone back to Godhead. So this is how they could have used their propensity. And just one thing is there, the focus. This lust can be transformed to love, and that's what Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to do it. Okay, anybody would like to bring up any points for discussion? Okay, we'll go to the next shloka then. Indriyanu sorry, Indriyani Mano Buddhir
Indriyani manobuddhir
Indriyani manobuddhe
Asyadhishthanamuchyate
asya tishthanamachyate
Etirvimohayati Esha
etir vimohayati yesha
Jnanam Avriti Dehinam.
jnanam avritya dehinam.
Any volunteers who would like to read the translation, Bob?
I can read.
Yes, please.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Purport: the enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul, and therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints to those places, so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. Mind is the center of all the activities of the senses, and thus we hear about the sense objects. The mind generally becomes a reservoir of all kinds of sense gratification, and as a result, the mind and the senses become repositories of lust. Next, the intelligent department becomes a capital of such lustful propensities. Lust is the immediate next door neighbor to the spiritual soul. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter, and thus with the mind and senses. The spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying material senses and mistakes this as true happiness. This false identification of the spirit soul is very nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.84.13.
I can
Yatsat.
read it.
Okay.
I can recite this one. यस्यात्म बुद्धि कुनपे त्रिधातुके स्वधी कलत्रादिषु भौम्य इज्यति यतीर्थ बुद्धि सलिलेन कर्हि चेत् ज्ञानेष्वभिघ्नेषु स एव गोखरा. Anshu can read.
A human being who identifies the body made of three elements with itself. This body made of three elements with itself, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of the birth worshipful, and who goes to the place of pilgrimage and simply to take a bath rather than to meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like an ass or a cow.
Hare Krishna, thank you for reading. Okay. So now Krishna is telling, first Krishna said about this, unlimited, unfulfilled, lusty desires, material desires, which are to enjoy separate from Krishna. Now he's telling, where is this propensity, focused on our, in terms of where we can understand. Somebody will be like, lust, where is lust? You're talking about all these covering, but where they are? And somebody has mentioned previously mind and senses, right? Somebody has said that we are forced to act in the wrong way by mind and by the senses. So these actually mind and senses themselves are just instruments, right? Just like a knife can be good and bad, right? Knife can be good in the hands of a surgeon. A surgeon can use the knife to take out the disease and give life to the person. And knife in the hand of a murderer or a dacoit or a robber can be very dangerous because they can take the life away. So similarly, mind is the sitting place of lust. Senses are the sitting place. If they're uncontrolled mind, uncontrolled senses, then actually they will have propensity to engage in material desires, and that is lust. That is the sitting place. And also contaminated intelligence. The intelligence can also be used in the service of the Lord, but if it is not used, it can actually facilitate the uncontrolled senses and uncontrolled mind how to get their desires fulfilled. In fact, in the purport, Prabhupada is saying these are strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul. So these are strategic positions where the enemy is hidden. Who is the enemy? These uncontrolled desires. They are actually taking us away from the Lord. So mind is the center of all activities of the senses. So there's a famous example of a chariot. Can anybody explain the example of the how the chariot is related to the chariot example can be used uh, to discuss about mind, senses, intelligence, and soul? Anyone? Let me pull up a chariot picture here. So let's take this one.
Isn't horses your senses pulling you toward things?
Yes,
Like
very
a part
good.
of church.
Yeah. So
And isn't your soul the driver? Or the person who's riding the chariot?
The intelligence is the driver.
Oh, the intelligence is my bad.
okay. So yes, that's a very good point, that senses are the horses. Let me pull up Krishna and Arjun in chariot. Okay. So if we were to use this, one of these, maybe one of, let's share the images. Let's use this one. Everybody can see, right? Everybody can see this image?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here, horses can be so these are 5 horses, these are like 5 senses. And these 5 senses or these 5 horses have something controlling it. What is that? What object is controlling them? Anybody? It's there in the picture.
Yeah, like that again, sorry.
So what is controlling the horses? How are they able to direct the horses to the right direction?
The charioteer.
What is he using?
With the what's that called? With the one that they have on their hand, the I don't
Yeah,
know.
kind of the ropes.
Rope.
Yeah. So these ropes are compared with mind. So the horses are compared with senses, ropes are compared with mind, and in whose hands are the ropes?
The Sarathi, Krishna.
Yeah, the Sarathi, the chariot driver. So chariot driver is compared to with the intelligence. So intelligence, if it controls the mind can be channelized, control can be the best friend. And intelligence has to conduct the whole working by the direction of the soul. So soul is the actual passenger sitting behind the Sarathi. Okay. So Sarathi hears what the command is from the passenger, directs the ropes in such a way that the horses can be following those. So this way chariot works smoothly. But if the horses take charge and do not really get, under the control of these ropes, and the charioteer is not able to control the ropes, and the passenger who is watching all of this will be miserable, because now the horses are going in the wrong direction. That's not where they need to go. So this is what happens with our uncontrolled senses, uncontrolled mind, uncontrolled intelligence. We go in the wrong direction. So this is what is happening forcefully, because that's what Arjuna's question was, original question. Let's go back. Arjuna asked this question in 36. So can anybody read this shloka, this translation? Who will read this?
Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, Prabhu.
Arjun said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
Yes. So even unwillingly, one is impelled to do sinful acts. That is because of the uncontrolled chariot example which we just discussed. Can somebody explain this example which we just discussed about the chariot? How this is the answer to Arjuna's question? Who will tell? Let's see.
Prabhu, maybe as I guess a general example coming to my mind is I love gulab jamun, they're in front of me, 10 of them, I eat 5 of them, I'm full. I still go for 6th one. Um, it just happens.
Yes, yes. So, so that is a good example of where we can, make or draw a line of what needs to be done and what needs to not to be done. But taking a gulab jamun is a very benign and simple example. In fact, this can be a treatment for a person who is addicted to eating all sorts of other nonsense. If he takes gulab jamun, which is offered to Krishna, that will be a treatment. But there are so many other gross examples which we can, identify in the life of ourselves or in the life of, people or news or other things, where we can see that how lust, greed, and anger is making a mockery and causing them to be a laughing stock. Great personalities, very famous personalities, coming under the influence of lust, anger, and greed. And then all the fame, all the name they have acquired, it actually, everything vanishes, right? But my question was specifically about the mind senses, which we discussed in this particular uh, shloka, comparing to the chariot. Just now, what we discussed, because Arjuna was saying how one is actually able to act even though unwillingly, but lands up doing sinful activities. So that in terms of a chariot, we can see Arjuna's question was, why is my chariot going in the wrong direction, right? Because he's saying, why am I acting sinfully, or one is forced to act sinfully. And the answer is because
You are
the
moving. Oh, sorry.
mind, senses, and intelligence are actually not under control. Yes, Maushami Mataji is saying something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that because you are letting everything go loose and not putting everything under control.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you're not putting effort to control it. So we have to put effort to control anything left.
Or you are letting everything be controlled by animals here in the chariot.
Yes, by the horses, correct. So this is very important in our life also. Anything done actively needs effort, and nothing good happens passively. If we are just passive, then there is a good chance that things will go out of control. Even a airplane, they put in autopilot, they have to keep an eye, and so many times they have to bring the plane back. So like this, we have to keep focusing on controlling. Now this may not happen that we 100% control our mind and senses immediately, but the practice has to start. And in the beginning only, if we focus on this, then it will actually give us much more benefit going forward. It is easier later on, but if it is not controlled, it takes a lot of effort. So discuss this. Okay, we'll go to the next shloka. Any other points anybody wants to bring up?
And this also is important, that, as you said, if you don't take control of your mind from the beginning, then it becomes a cumulatively negative force, because one negative gives rise the propensity to get attracted towards more negative, because that's all your mind have always thought.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. Mind has this nature of latching on to things which are, you know, more problematic, challenging, sticks to that more.
Which is why
And
people get addicted.
yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the next shloka. Okay, we discussed this one, right? Okay, yeah. One more thing in this. Prabhupada is mentioning here about intelligence is the next door neighbor of spirit soul. So intelligence is the next door neighbor. So in the chariot example, we discussed how the passenger is the soul and the one next to the passenger is the chariot driver, which is the intelligence. So if the intelligence is good, if intelligence is actually able to be used in spiritual subjects, then it will not be lusty intelligence. Otherwise, it's lusty intelligence, and intelligence will become a means for the mind to do wrong activities. That's why we see so many of these criminals. They are very intelligent. They know how to do it. Why? Because they've used their intelligence to fulfill their lusty desire, and they are subdued. They are actually subdued by the mind and senses, which are uncontrolled. In this shloka, Prabhupada is quoting is actually very, very high level, because normally people think, okay, I have to take care of me and my family, but this is not the only thing we have to do. We have to take care of not just the body, but the spirit soul of our family, and also contribute to the same thing, body and soul of the whole society. So here in this shloka, it is being talked about that some people, they may think that I am only this body made of three elements, but that's not true. We are not just this body, we are spirit, soul. And other people, they think that the body has byproducts like sin, like children, and they are my belonging, they are kinsmen. But as I discussed, no, that's not true alone. We have responsibility for body, for family, for society, and much more. So somebody may think, okay, maybe my country, land of worship, land of birth, that is worshipable. No, the land of birth alone, we have duties and responsibility to our land of worship, to our country, but that's not what is the ultimate true worshipable thing. Somebody may think, okay, holy places, they are the true worshipable things. We can go there and take bath in the Ganga. That'll be great. No, even that is not the best. If you're going to holy places and just taking bath in Ganga and thinking all your sins are going away, that is not an intelligent person either. There is something much higher which a person has to do. So basically, these are not considered to be the highest. This is compared to as the consciousness of an ordinary even animal, cow and ass. So the point here is that one has to have spiritual intelligence. If we are going to the place of pilgrimage, then we have to learn spirituality. We have to learn from those who are realized and highly advanced. From their input, we can actually advance ourselves. If we are um, having some duties and responsibilities to our place of worship, we have to place of birth, so we have to fulfill them. But the place of birth in itself is the only goal. That is not the highest thing. Even the dogs have their own space and they'll start fighting if somebody comes in their space. Dogs may have an area which is allotted and they go around, they do their markings, and with their markings, the other dogs have to be careful that, oh, I don't want to go to their territory, otherwise it's going to be chaos. Sometimes you see dogs barking at each other, especially at nights. One dog is going to the other's territory. So if humans are also only doing this, then it is actually animalistic mentality. Okay, so what is the point of this shloka here? The point is that we have to understand that these propensities are coming from unlimited material desires which are disconnected with the Lord, and we have to connect and transform them into pure spiritual desires. Okay. Any points anybody want to bring up for discussion from the shloka? Okay, I think we are almost running out of time. So if nobody has anything, should we end for today? Okay, we'll end here and we'll connect tomorrow for our Hindi Bhagavad Gita class. So yesterday we had special Nityanand Trayodashi. Nityanand Prabhu is the incarnation of Lord Balaram, and Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna actually not very different. Sometimes people don't know much about Lord Balaram, but Lord Balaram is also Supreme Lord. The difference is Lord Balaram came as the servant of Lord Krishna, even though his older brother, but his older brother also, he is serving Krishna. One time there was a big assembly of lot of saints and sages, and when one of the saints was going to give a lecture, he was actually speaking, he had started and speaking the lecture, and when Lord Balram entered the assembly, everybody bowed down to Lord Balram, but the speaker of the lecture, he had some pride. He was thinking, I'm sitting here, why should I bow down? And because of all this pride, Lord Balram, because he is the Supreme Lord, he could sense it. And he understood that this is not a good example for people, that somebody who's giving lecture should not have such pride. So he wanted to make a point which would be remembered for thousands of years. So if you want to make a point which is remembered for thousands of years, it has to be really dramatic, right? So what did Lord Balram do? Do you know? Anybody knows here? Who would like to tell? Take a guess.
He took a piece of grass and threw it at Maharshi Ashoka, and then he died.
Okay, thank you. So it was Ro Maharshana or Ro Maharsha Sutta who was sitting and giving the lecture. And because of the pride, Lord Balram wanted to make a point. So he picked up a blade of grass. And of course, when he picks up a blade of grass, it can be used in any way. And it became like an arrow. And he threw it. And on the spot, Ro Maharshana died. Now this was very dramatic. And this is a point which Lord Balram wanted to make for teaching. Now the same Balram, when he comes to Kali Yuga, he knows Kali Yuga people are not very advanced spiritually. They don't have moral standards. They don't have etiquettes. They have pride, so much. So what did Lord Balram do? He did not kill anybody. In fact, Nityananda Prabhu, he was going for different places, different houses, and the same straw which he used for making an arrow and throwing and killing, he was using the straw put in between his teeth. This is a sign of humility. This is a sign that I'm good for nothing. I'm like an animal. And he's going around and encouraging, inspiring, and begging people to actually transform their consciousness from materialistic to spiritual by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And in this way, he was able to give up, like purify people who were able to give up their bad propensities, their lusty desires, their uh, contaminated consciousness. Everything became purified just by following the process given by Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu, yesterday he appeared. So if we use this particular opportunity of his appearance and pray to him that we should also be able to purify ourselves with these unlimited desires which we don't even want, and they're making us, not too peaceful. They're just agitating us. Then he will help us, and our mind will be calm, and it will be peaceful, and we'll be able to use it in the service of Krishna. All right, so we'll end here. Thank you very much. Karantraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki